Well, hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning into the Storytelling Alchemist show on the Los Angeles Tribune at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific every Wednesday night. My guests tonight are two mentors that I have that I really appreciate all the work that they are doing in the world, helping people, being of service, and really revolutionizing and helping people get their message out there. So I wanted to welcome to the show Michael Silvers and Donna Campbell. Hello, Michael.
Hey, how are you?
And hello,
Hello.
Donna. Welcome back to the show, Donna.
Yes,
And
thank
welcome,
you.
Michael. So thanks to everybody, thanks to you both for coming on the show. I figured we have a great conversation about not only what we do at the Mentor Studio, but also about how you both got where you're at in the place where you're being of service and getting your message out there. And I guess I'll start off with Michael, because I know, Donna, we've talked about your story, and we'll just start off with Michael. And how did you go on this path? I know that you were a police officer, and then you kind of went on a journey, and then you went into this world of self-help and helping people and sales and stuff like that. Can you talk a little bit about how you got into this world?
Sure, and I'll do. How do you like the hotel backdrop? Isn't that exciting?
It
You do this from wherever. It's really interesting. I'll do the 2-minute version, but maybe we'll do the 18-minute stage version. Life is fun, but I always say, born and raised in LAPD officer to a year in Hollywood. I worked at Raleigh Studios. If anybody remembers, Raleigh's still around. They're big and they just moved location. To master's in clinical psych, because when you don't know what you're going to do, you go back to university. Worked with children and adults for about 8 years, was getting married too close to home. And we got to remember, everything's divergent. There's that tendency of you're gravitating towards something. So there was always that part of me that wanted to help or be of service, and then moved up to Seattle with my wife and the kids. And at that point, became a nurse. Male nurse jokes were done. Okay, good. So, and then was becoming a nurse practitioner when network marketing fell into my lap. And at that point, I'm like, yeah, no way, not in this lifetime. But what that did is that introduced me quickly to Bob Proctor and Zig Ziglar. And they became mentors. And my wife and I really saw a different road. We saw a different way to go at that point. And the great thing about that is that it led us to all these great mentors along the way. It led us to these people that opened up. And because we did really well very quickly, that was the end of nursing. Done and gone. It's been almost like 22, 23 years now. I gotta look exactly the date that I left it. And that brought me into meetings. So then Bob Proctor says, take every course on the planet, which we did. And that's the one thing, always invest in yourself, right, Jeremy? Always invest in yourself. Keep investing in yourself. Keep learning. Keep being structured. Keep that structure around you that the strategy sort of makes sense, but get so out of balance that it's a lot of fun, I always say. And then we met Chris Howard. We bought all his courses. And all of a sudden, my wife and I were in Australia half our life for 5 years. And we're running a large coaching division. We were like in 6-7 countries, doing events for 3,000 to 5,000 people. And I got lots of stories around that I could tell you one day. And then I got a call from T. Harv Eker, who ran Peak Potentials. And that very simply led to director of coaching for this international division. We saw almost 1 million students. We had all the major events in the US. And then I met this wonderful, amazing woman named Mary Glorfield. And for 9 years, we worked together. And she was the speaker development coordinator for Harv, for all the big names. And we'd put on major shows to major stadium shows. But she was also Tony Robbins' vice president for 18 years. And she did 82 countries with Tony. And out of that, meeting then Mr. Bill Walsh and Power Team, you got to remember, you always say yes. Everybody right now, just raise your hand and say, I'll say yes. As long as it's ecological, no harm to yourself or others. The story's almost done. And Bill says, come play with us. So I do. And now I'm VP over at Power Team. And then we launched the Mentor Studio, because we wanted mentors around the world to come together to serve those who don't have the access to us, who don't have the access to mentors. And we've just blown the doors open on that. And then a year ago, somebody who signed up for the Mentor Studio, Ms. Dawna Campbell, is now we've taken around the world, and she's exceptional, has become our lead trainer. She's got her own amazing programs, and life is just good, which consistently shows just say yes. Stop blanking yourself out. Don't stop, and keep moving forward.
I think
How's that?
that's great. And you kind of you kind of led into my next question, maybe part of it at least, which is there's had to have been times in the last 22 years where you're like, oh, I don't know, where you had this, maybe doubt that came in. And how did you overcome that?
The biggest thing when it comes to that for me has always been surround yourself by the right people. Because there's days that I go, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? You lose focus, you lose direction. It's really interesting. I had one like that just on Saturday. And I know sometimes I don't present it to the people around me because you go linear. We call it the wine issue. If you're going to wine to people like on your plane, but not people you're bringing up, wine to your mentors. And I just didn't want to do it. I didn't want to be. And my mentor, Bill Walsh, was coming into Seattle. I knew it was going to be meeting, all these things we were going to do. And by the end of the day, I knew exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing. So in those moments, surround yourself with the right people, get into enough space so you have the right energy coming to you. That's why at the Mentor Studio, we have a weekly call. Part of the reason we do is because we want people to be consistently in that right mind. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And at the same time, you also just keep learning. So keep investing in yourself, and also be of service all the time. So every time I'm feeling whatever, it's time to be of service. It's, help out a soup kitchen, move the homeless from one camp to another, help children, whatever it is. If you're of service, you're not thinking about yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I learned that years ago. I was in the worst part of my life. And so I would just be of service to other people because I couldn't think about my own life because it was not in a great place. But what it did is it helped me look at them and help them, and then look at myself and grow. So good. Well, thank you, Michael. And Donna, what about your story? I know I've heard it before, but what are the listeners that are watching right now, our viewers?
Well, I have an international healing practice, and I started learning along the way what I was doing for one person, I could take to the global stage. And rather than just serve one person at a time, I could serve many at a time. And for me, my background's in finance, in marketing, and I was a financial planner. I was responsible for $500 million of other people's money. So if you do that math, that's $500 million. And my clients weren't any better off. And what it cost me was my own health. It cost me my marriage, and it cost me my own financial money supply. I was left financially devastated after that was 4 or 5 years. So I knew that wasn't the pathway, and that there was something more. And that's how I ended up into the world of healing. And taking those messages now to the global stage, I didn't know how to get from the individual level to the global stage. And so I went and sought after different coaches, different people who I thought would be able to facilitate a pathway for me. And then that didn't work out. And then it was about 1.5 years ago, I was introduced to the Mentor Studio. I met Michael, I met Mary. There was never a question in my mind. I was already in before I was on the first call, and then went through the system. And now I'm out on those global stages. I've been to London. I've been speaking in front of hundreds and thousands of people anymore, sharing my message, because as Mr. Bill Walsh always says, another one of my mentors, your story is too big to play small. So get your message out there. And now I have this ability to make these great changes in the world, which is what I'm truly passionate about, and making that impact to create the world a better place. But what is even better sitting here as I realize is my mom, when I was growing up, instilled in me that you could do and be anything you wanted in the world. And I learned that I wanted to create opportunities for myself and other people, which is why I followed the financial planning path, because I saw how intricate money was in the world. But now through the Mentor Studio, moving through everything, it's like I have this ability to help other people open up those same doors for opportunities for them, to help them go from point A to point B. So it's like a full circle moment. Yes, it's facilitating for me, but now I'm facilitating that for many others, fulfilling a larger mission than I ever could have ever imagined.
So how do you go overcome those days where you're just like, I don't even know what I'm doing? Those days of doubt.
I listen listen to my heart space. And if I have a shred of doubt in there going, maybe this isn't quite right, I should pay attention to it. Because instantly I usually just know. And yes, when those opportunities come, you just say yes, you keep moving forward. And that's how you get one, where you're going on the trail. And very rarely do I have doubt. And if I do, it's like, okay, it's coming up for a reason, because I'm on the other side. I'm on the faith side. It's just going to be, there's no other question.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. And then what COVID has brought a lot of doubt into people's minds. But it's interesting. Let's throw this out there. During COVID, the Mentor Studio was founded, right, Michael? Is that when you started during all this?
Yeah, we had one reiteration before that called Vertical Live that we started to kick off a little bit before. And the one thing that COVID gave us, because when I was with Power Team, we do about 300 live events a year. And so COVID gave us, first of all, time to launch the whole virtual side for the Power Team. But then at the same time, I thought, all right, so we got some time now, right? We're not road warriors for the moment. And I called Mary Glorfield, she's the one who was Tony's VP for 18 years. And I said, we're going to full partner on this, and we're going to rebrand, relaunch. And we did. And we basically started to I just tagged people that I started with people I knew, but then the people I didn't know, saying myself, and, I was with Harv Eker for, 10, 11 years, and Mary Glorfield with Tony for 18 years. We're looking for mentors around the world to join, and come join us, for $495 a year and mentor around the world. And people just flooded in. So because we wanted to have a place for people to be, we wanted a place for mentors to be. And, we also were looking for like-minded individuals. So we also were discriminating. There were definitely some people I hate to say this, okay, don't take it personal, but we didn't reach out to, because we were looking for people who just said yes and would continue to move forward. And it's in those times where you don't know what's going to happen in the world, you just got to make a decision. Bill and I were sitting in Miami the week before everything shut down. It was March 18th or 19th. We were teaching a Rainmaker there. And literally that hotel that night went from 98% occupancy to 13%. So basically Bill and I were still in the hotel. We had to finish the course. Us and the students were only ones left really in the hotel. And that next morning, Bill says, come in the morning. And I knew something needed to change. I thought, or business is done. Because we don't know. This could go on a month, 2 months, 6 months, a year. Within 8 days, we had launched a 12-hour broadcast. And that broadcast, it had everybody. It had like Kevin Harrington and Brian Tracy. We just called everybody, Sharon Lecter, and said, let's show the world we're still here. We'll be here with you the whole time. And we actually never stopped. We kept that complimentary broadcast going all the way through COVID. So people always had a place to be. And that's that being of service. It 12-hour broadcast, that's a lot of time. I emceed them all. At the same time, I just knew we were making a difference. My grandkids would sit behind me because they weren't living in the house and watching. And I thought, this is what life's about. This right here is what life's about. My biggest issue would typically be, and an audience, this is clinical, so it's okay. It's like, can I take a pee break? But except for that, right? We just went and we did it. And that's that looking beyond yourself all the time. So the Mentor Studio launched from having that time, realizing that we needed to bring mentors together and continue on and go from there. And now we have 300 live events a year and 200 hours of virtual and podcasting and divisions launching and health and wellness divisions, because the vision is greater than what it is at the moment, and we're following along with that and willing to, whatever the fear that comes up, go, okay, and then continue moving forward.
Well, I think you said it best, is that, we're human beings, so fear does come up. But when we put ourselves around people that are of like mind or trying to do the same things that we're doing, or they always say, be around the people you want to be. I learned that years ago. When I wanted to be a vice president, I would hang out with all the directors and vice presidents. And, by the time I was 32, I was vice president. Then I got there and I was like, yeah, this isn't all it's cracked up to be. Yep. So, but, that's how we learn, right? And I think what you're talking about is pivoting. You pivoted your business right at COVID and changed perspective. And a lot of people really went into major depression and, failure mode, as opposed to, hey, what can we do right now to make this work, and also help those people sitting in their homes that are alone, bored. There was a lot of going on in those years, and it's commendable that you guys were doing. And that kind of leads me into my next question for both of you, is because you're already kind of answering it, is what does being of service mean to you? And some people would throw out being of service, is there a boundary or a limit to go into when you think about that, or is it you're just always of service? So I guess that was 3 questions.
Donna.
So what I think and believe about being of service is did you make a difference in somebody's life? Did you create a healing? And now healing can be anything. It might just be a raise of vibration and level, and the person who was upset at the grocery store checking you out might have a smile now. And to me, that's a healing. That's a miracle. They change their physiological posture. They're smiling. They're not frowning. And it's how can you make that difference? And there's a lot of different ways that we can make differences in the world. And being of service is really about that for me, because I really believe that we're meant to live in a life of love and joy and happiness and peace and kindness, and not some of the things we experience. And being of service is to be in service in that way. Yes, there's acts that you can do, helping somebody move, or if somebody's pulled over on the side of the road and they have a flat tire, things like that. So, they talk about those 5 love languages. Really, they're all different ways that you can serve in that. And that's how I live my life every single day.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And I think there's ways we have a tendency, if we want to do something big, right? And there's that, I tell the story sometimes. My cousin, you guys can look him up, was Bernie Glassman. Bernie Glassman was the first American Zen Roshi in the United States, but with a good friend of his, a gentleman named Jeff Bridges, who a lot of you might know from the acting, created the Zen Peacekeeper movement. And that thing's worldwide, right? And they got together with Richard Rohr and many others, and he did it in a big way. But what about just your local, again, to me, it's your local charity, your local soup kitchen. It could be as simple as the gentleman who's standing on the corner says, I have no food. Instead of you having judgment, excuse me, you just give them a bag of food. Those are the kind of things I'm going to put on mute because I don't want to cough you guys. Those are the kind of things that I think make a difference. It's like when my wife carries in the car, some food. It has $2 in it. It has a drink in it, like an apple juice. It has things. And when the grandchildren watch us give that to somebody with no judgment, maybe they are, maybe they're not. Those are the times that we're truly being of service. And also, especially when you run into people that you just don't like for some reason, or they rub you wrong, and you just turn around and say, how can I be of service? That to me keeps you moving down that path. Look, Mary and I have this great business. We're business partners. When we first met, we were like this, right? Because we were at a huge event together, and I needed space to run to sell the Global Mastermind, which was a $30,000 course, and she needed all her speakers on stages, and we battled it out for 5 days. But what we also realized is we were both really coming from the same place. We wanted to serve the audience, and how could we do that together? And that's part of what you do too.
Yeah, and I've had that myself, where I've had places where, you're with, I guess, somebody and you don't really like them at first, and then they become your best friend, or they become somebody you really get along with. So it's always a great thing. So going into, I guess, my next question. So I guess, and then we'll kind of go more into the mentor studios. What does success mean for both of you? Like at the end of the day, when you get done at the end of the twilight of your life, in looking back, what do you think would success be for you? I guess we'll go with Michael because Donna went first last time.
I'll go first. To me, it's a legacy piece. To me, it's my grandchildren. What kind of world have I left to my grandchildren? It's that simple. And that to me would be success. Would be a world where there's less violence, because there's just, I don't know if I could say eradicate, but there's less violence. There's food. Everybody's being fed. The world is a place where Everybody doesn't have to get along. There's that gets a little, right. We are meant to have discussions and to have disagreements, but really to leave them in a world that's taking better care of the planet, that is taking care of each other, and that violence is not the way to solve the issue. And I want to, so leaving that for them, to me, would be everything.
Very cool. Dawna?
I used to think and say, right and wrong. But then that I kind of got upgraded to success and failures, and then realized that success or failure was just a matter of perspective. And I would think, well, if you like the experience, keep doing it. If you didn't like it, change it, do something different, right? And even in the experiences that you didn't like, or what one person may deem as a failure, my question is did you find the gift in that? Did you learn something from it? And was there that silver lining gift? So even in the darkest of my days and when I was at the bottom of different things, there was gifts there if I was to open my eyes. And then that gift, through that, even though it came to me in a not so good way, turned into a success because I learned from it and moved forward. And then there's still, more gifts in those successes moving forward that way. So I don't look at the world so much as a success or failure. It's what did I get out of this? What did I learn from it? And can I make it even better?
Very cool. So let's go into the Mentor Studio. So what is, because we got a few more minutes left of the show.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked a little bit about the Mentor Studio. Who is the ideal person to be a part of the Mentor Studio, to grow this legacy, to be of service in the world?
It's really people like you and Dawna, but it's, what it does is we used to really, so we have hundreds of mentors around the world now, and we have thousands of members and more joining us because we're about to hit the big stages. But we really are still looking for people who are like-minded individuals moving in a direction of to be of service, entrepreneurs, podcasters, people in health and wellness, people in spirituality, people who just say for $4.95 a year, I'm joining this. I want to be part of it. And I know I can help make a difference. Those are perfect people for us. The other thing too, because we always have a complimentary side, or we have a side, literally it's $9.95 a year, right? For those of you in other countries who you're just like, you know what, I only make $100 a year. We will always have a place for you too, because we always believe this is inclusive of everyone. But it's just, think of the mindset. Think of yourself. As you woke up this morning, did you say, you know what? I love what I do. I hate what I do. I'm not sure what I want to do. But I know I have a gift. I know I have something that I can give to somebody else. That's the kind of people we want.
Perfect. And just to throw this out there, the website for the Mentor Studio is in the description of this show, and as well as my website if you want to contact me or Michael or Dawna to talk about being a part of the Mentor Studio. Please do so. We would love to talk to you about that. 10, 15-minute call is all it takes. So,
yeah. You know what's great too? Next week, right? Next week we have a big kickoff of something that you'll find out if you sign up for it, or you'll find out through us. And we also have the launch of the podcasting division. So because we've launched the health and wellness division, next week we launch the podcasting, then we're going to launch the entertainment side, then the entrepreneur business side. And it's just awesome. And again, for anybody out there who wants to get your message out there, we do have 300 stages available to us. And we run many, many, many of them, like most. So you just have to reach out, become part of the team, figure it out, see what works for you, and go from there. But stop thinking. See, in life, we have that tendency. We always, something, instead of doing that, why don't you just say yes? See if you're going to make a difference. See if that difference, and this is with everything. Remember, if it's ecological, no harm to yourself or others, and just get out there and keep moving. Well, I'm too busy. I'm taking too many things. I'm too busy with work. Okay, that's a story. And so it's time to get out of the story. And instead of living within that, live open and move forward. And also, we're just a lot of fun. If nothing else, we are a lot of fun. We do calls like you've never seen. We do calls like you're on stage. We tell stories. We have gamification. We have speaker training. We have podcasting training. We have business training. We have Dawna on there all the time with Jeremy. How does this get any better?
And Dawna and I definitely have a lot of fun.
So, if I could say really quickly too, our vision within the Mentor Studio is to educate, enlighten, enrich, and enhance our mentors' expertise out in the world. And I'm always looking for people that are ready to level up, to expand, to learn from the mentors, from people who've come before them that are willing to, take their level and magnify it. So there's always looking for that and heart-centered people.
Last question before we end the show is, what is any last minute tidbits or advice that you would give the people watching to help them in their lives? And I guess we'll start off with Dawna.
Oh, wow. I'll share a mantra that I wrote many, many years ago when I went through a lot of difficult times, but I still live by this today. And when people ask me this question, this is what I share. Whenever you have to make a decision, trust and you will see, believe and you will know, have faith, all is well. Follow your heart and spirit will lead you.
Thank you. Michael, what would you
say? We end with that. That was good.
Yeah, that was good.
That was good. The biggest thing I say is keep falling forward every day and fail as much as you can, because failure is just feedback. You get the lessons and the learning from it, and make sure you surround yourself with the right mentors, because the right mentors just means many. There's no right or wrong, up or down. Just get the mentors around you, do whatever it takes, keep moving forward, ask the questions, and make a difference.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Everybody, this is a great show. Check out the website for the Mentor Studio. There's podcasts on there for different speakers and teachers out there. Mine was just launched a couple weeks ago or a week ago, so go and check it out. I just actually listened to it and in the car driving over to Orlando the other day. I have some amazing guests coming on over the next month or two. So here at 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, every Wednesday live. And would love to have you. And if you'd like to be a guest, message me. I would love to have you on as a guest. Much love, everybody. And thanks for watching the Storytelling Alchemist Show. Peace.